What do you think?
I think we're dead meat. Real dead meat.
You dead meat! Go ahead and laugh, you guys. If I ever find a little bastards that did this, they're dead meat.
Welcome to the Dead Meat Podcast, an extension of the YouTube channel Dead Meat. I'm James.
I'm Chelsea, and we are engaged, and we like to get scared together.
I've heard the name a whole bunch online from fans and such, and I had no idea what it was, but people kept saying it was metal, and then I started seeing some screen caps of PG himself, Psycho Goreman, crazy-looking monster guy.
Yeah.
And I was intrigued. And
yeah.
people said we would love it.
This was one I kept getting told, like, this is what you're looking for, pretty much. Because I love movies that shred. Like, I want a movie that could be described as metal. And I'll be honest up top, this wasn't quite my speed.
I think that when it started, we were having a good time.
Yeah.
I think by the time it ended, we were a little deflated. But then sitting here rereading my notes for it before we started filming, there are a lot of things I wrote down where I remember both of us, like, really enjoying it.
Oh, yeah.
So,
there's, like, plenty I enjoy about it. I just think the way it all comes together is ultimately kind of... I don't know. I was left wanting. But there's like, things in it that are very cool and awesome.
Yeah, I think the ending is a letdown for me, like the whole end sequence. And then throughout the film, you know, bless these kids' hearts, but the main characters of the movie are two kids who, I'm not great with kids' ages, but the girl has got to be 10, maybe?
Yeah, it's a lot of
Maybe
dialogue,
12.
obviously written by an adult, being spoken by a kid, which, like, that can be done well, and it can be funny, but I just didn't, I don't know, I think, it was tough. It was, like, you know, lots of kid acting, which is not to rag on the actors themselves are children.
Yeah,
but
you can never really blame the kid actors for
No,
their acting.
that all lies on people making the movie being able to gauge whether or not something is working, or if, you know, that specific kid is able to pull off this material, you know, like, yeah,
they've got to communicate the ideas well enough to the kid for the kid to interpret it in a way that gets them the end result they want.
Yeah, and maybe this was the result that they wanted, in which case
I think it was.
It's not my thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, you and I have a kind of particular senses of humor, and I can see this movie being super funny for people. And there were moments that are hilarious. Yeah. I think PG, the character himself,
I think PG's great.
He's fucking fantastic.
I wanted more PG.
Yeah.
And more of all the other gleep glops.
And you get a decent amount.
Yeah.
And if they made a sequel, I would watch it because I'd be excited to see more of PG himself.
Well, we'll kind of go through the movie itself. Because, again, there's plenty of stuff I liked. But I guess as long as we're on that topic. Yeah, I think a lot of the characters in it didn't, like, all belong to the same movie. Or just they weren't, like the tone I didn't quite get. Because it's weird. The first 10 minutes or so, perfect. I got, you know, and I was excited for the rest of it. I think the opening is really strong.
You think Crazy Ball is strong?
I mean, yeah, when they find the thing in the backyard, and we have the kids communicate through Morse code, and it sucks that that's ultimately the most we ever really see the kids have any kind of bond. It's like the nicest she ever is to him. That
was the other thing, was when this started, I was like, and I also misinterpreted the parents' relationship, and I was like, oh, cool, we have parents who love each other,
yes,
and
it's like
siblings
a
who love
movie.
each other. And then that's not the case. The parents are at each other's throats.
Each other. It's
and then
so weird.
Yeah, the sister's really mean to the brother.
The exact same thing. I thought it was like a family that loves each other and kind of rags on each other, and they're fun. But
no,
they're like hostile the entire movie, and it's not fun to watch.
And, you know, we'll go through it in a minute, but it was written and directed by Steven Kostanski, who is part of the filmmaking collective Astron 6. And, they've been doing a lot in the horror genre. They made The Void.
The Void, yeah.
Which I watched with patrons a while back, way back when some milestone or another we tried to watch live streaming movies.
Yeah, I thought that was part of the live stream.
Yeah, and it was enjoyable. A lot of cool practical effects. People always recommended it to me, saying if I loved The Thing, I would like The Void, and it was pretty good. I liked it. They also made, and specifically Steve
that
Kostansky,
new Leprechaun, right?
They made Leprechaun Returns, which, I mean, not to spoil my own Leprechaun ranking video that I'm going to release this year, but might be number one.
Wow.
It's fighting for the top spot.
Your number one wouldn't have Warwick Davis in it.
That is the blasphemous fucking
That's
part.
Kind of fucked up,
I know, it really is. I haven't made my decision.
I think mine's got to be In the Hood.
Yeah. In the Hood is great.
It's great.
Yeah, we'll see.
I literally can't even remember if I watched. I vaguely remember there being a Jennifer Aniston's daughter character in one of the many Leprechaun movies, but they're all just kind of a blur. I don't know if I watched that one.
Well, I'm rewatching them now, so maybe you can catch that one with me on my second go around. But I really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
Leprechaun. So
I remember, you really liked that one.
Yeah, I thought it struck a great balance of gore and humor, and the humor in that I really enjoyed. And so,
Did he write that?
I think so. I'm not positive.
And did he write this?
He did write this.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, that can also...
Oh, no, you know what? He didn't write Leprechaun Returns. That was written by a woman, Suzanne Keeley, who I'm not really familiar with. I think she did an episode of Ash vs. Evil Dead, because I remember looking her up. But no, so he just directed that.
Might explain.
Maybe.
And I'm saying this as someone who also cannot fucking write. Like, I can't really write. I'm such a visual type filmmaker. Like, if I... the ideas I always come up with and ideas that I came up with in film school were all extremely visual, and like I needed writers to help me flesh stuff out. Like I would have ideas for like, this would look so cool, and then, but I need a plot to hang this on. I probably could take a shot at experimental filmmaking where there doesn't have to be a plot. It just has to be like 10 minutes of shit that looks cool. But so I'm not saying that makes him any less of a capable filmmaker. I just think, some filmmakers do better with adapted material. I'm trying to Scorsese does not write his scripts.
Kubrick
does not either. At least I don't think Scorsese really writes at least most of them.
Yeah, so I guess we can set up the movie, right?
Yes.
PG Psycho Goreman. That is its full name, by the way. PG : Psycho Goreman. And qu'est-ce que c'est? And it's...
I know, that's all I could think of
I know.
the whole time.
So it starts with like a sci-fi scroll kind of giving us the lay of the land, and it talks about a planet Gygax and a dark leader who was imprisoned. It's very kind of like Dune or just fantasy sci-fi type stuff that's like, weird sounding words with lots of syllables, and it just takes itself seriously, and there's a mythos.
I want to clarify.
What?
Sorry, just so Scorsese, he has written some of his own movies, but they always have a co-writer.
Okay, that's what I.
So that's what I'm saying is like, just because a director maybe isn't great at writing their own stuff by themselves, like apparently neither Scorsese, and he's Scorsese, so.
And I would even be hesitant to say that Mr. Kostansky.
Oh no, not yet.
Yeah, because I think this is an accomplishment of writing, just because of how well it nails this sci-fi fantasy.
Yeah, he definitely nails this kind of like Power Rangers type feeling where, it like takes itself so seriously that it becomes very camp. And I will say that it is impressive to me, and this is where I think the writing is really strong, that this movie somehow does the cheesy on purpose, but it doesn't feel like it's trying so hard that it's not fun to watch, or where it's like, because it would be easy to make it too silly, but it really truly feels like they wrote some like legit lore for this guy.
Yeah.
And the way it's presented is so serious and like so like it's a metal album cover is like that's what makes it so funny. And I wanted so much more of that.
And that's another reason why I said I would watch a sequel, because it feels like there's material for a sequel.
I would watch the thing of this. You know, like how with Buzz Lightyear, he has like the little TV show that's like Buzz Lightyear, but it's like in space. It's like it's like the character that the toy is.
Yeah.
And that's like what I would watch of PG.
That'd be cool. They should make a show like on Shudder.
Yeah. That would be it'd be a really expensive show. That's the other thing.
I can't tell if the things are like if the design and the characters and stuff. I mean, that had to cost something. I don't think this is a particularly large budget film.
No, but it looks.
But I think they stretched that money. That's ways.
That's another thing that I think is so cool about this, and I think is something really special about it, and why I can't be like, oh, I didn't really, like there is stuff about it that I really love and think is cool. Is it's all practical. There's like some CGI, but that's for like lightning bolts or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Like, stuff where it kind of has to be fake.
The characters are all practical. They are running around in, like you said, Power Ranger suits. And I'm sure there's a better reference point of something that Power Rangers kind of rips off itself.
Yeah, but
my touchstone is Power Rangers.
Thought. Yeah.
These monsters. And what's really cool is all the unique designs of the aliens and monsters. There are a lot of just very different aesthetics to them all, and I buy that they're all different races. It reminds me of like, that was always the thing that drew me to Star Wars over Star Trek, was because in Star Trek felt like people with like just some makeup on, whereas Star Wars, you go in that cantina, you go in Jabba's palace.
To quote, we hate movies, it's gleep glops.
Gleep glops. I like my gleep glops
everywhere.
Yeah, and Psycho Goreman.
There's so many gleep glops.
Has great gleep glops.
In here, I even wrote, what do I have to do to be cast in shit like this?
See, you want to be a gleep glop.
Yes, I want is to. I know you want to star, and
I don't want to sit in a makeup chair for 5 hours.
And I'm very happy for you. But I want to be a gleep glop. I want to sit in makeup for like 10 hours and then act for like 1. Yeah. And my acting is all just like sitting at the Galactic Council or like the Senate. I love the Templars as like a race.
They're like robotic angels.
Yeah, they're like, it's kind of cyborg angels. I think there's been things like I've seen that concept before of like a race of kind of like angelic beings who actually are extremely evil their sense of morality is so they're
above.
So lawful good that it's like they fishhook theory or like horseshoe theory, not fishhook. That would be like if they became centrist. But they like horseshoe theory where it's like, oh no, they're like straight up villains because they abide so hard to this rule. I mean, they're crusaders. They're that kind of like moral warrior where it's like in the name of good and holiness, you're just doing a genocide kind of thing.
Yeah. So after that text crawl setting up the sci-fi element, we meet our kids who are going to be hooked to this whole movie. And
Luke and Mimi.
Mimi's the younger sibling, probably by a couple of years, and is definitely the more aggressive one. And Luke kind of what's the word? Kowtows? Is that?
He's kind of not a doormat, but he's maybe just
he acquiesces
terrified
to
of her. Yeah, he's definitely been made the like if they have like an alpha and beta type. He's just it's like if I play along, maybe she won't like punch me in the neck and try and give me a swirly kind of thing.
Exactly. And they're playing Crazy Ball, which is I think Calvin Ball.
It's Calvin Ball.
Yeah, just all these made up rules and stuff. And I did get a laugh out of like, oh, I got a butt bonus.
Butt bonus, yeah, because that's such a thing that, like that felt very real to me, this game with like stupid, nonsensical rules that, I mean, it's kind of just how all games start is like, two people just kick around a ball and then you just add rules. And as you go on, it's like a game of memory or like that game where, where you're like, you stand in a circle and you're like, I'm going to the picnic and I'm bringing blah, blah. And then you go like, I'm going to the picnic and I'm bringing, you say with that person and you just keep going until you add, or like, that's how you memorize everyone's names.
Yeah.
That's to me how all games end up like, cause you just add rules to make it more fun. And over time, it's just then to like learn them all at once is impossible. Like fucking, craps. Like the history of craps.
Yeah.
Because we love playing craps when we go to Vegas, and the rules of that are just what? There's
Yeah.
not any.
A cum line? What?
Yeah, there's the cummy vets. Yeah, we call them cummies when we go to Vegas, and everyone hates it.
Just to clear, that is our word. That is not.
Yeah, do not go to the
table
casino and ask
say you
the
want a cummy
dealer
vet.
about cummies.
Yeah.
Don't do it. But yeah, like I was looking up the history of that game, and it's the same where it's just they just add because you're a sailor or whatever, just playing that on the deck of the ship with your other crewmates, and you're bored as fuck, so you just add more rules. Yeah. Anyway, games.
She wins because she was always gonna win, and makes him like dig a
his
hole.
own grave,
Yeah,
which I
dig
think
his
is very funny.
And that's when they come across the entombed a bad guy. Peach,
Yeah,
who
very Wishmaster.
oh yeah,
gem.
the gem that she gets.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a little bit of a reference to Wishmaster, because there is a very, which I love, there is a reference to Phantasm in this that I was very excited about, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a Wishmaster type.
Yeah, there's some Wish stuff going on.
I mean, he's got PG has Wishmaster vibes.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I would love to watch those two just like endless feedback loop. But it's like when you hold a microphone up to a speaker, that's like what those two would be like talking to each other. Just
So we meet their parents when they put them to bed.
Yes, Susan and Greg.
Yes.
Very parent names.
Mm-hmm. And again, at this point early on, I don't picture Greg the way he ends up being.
No, not at all. And that's what makes it very confusing later. And I think, because I wonder if because this first 10-20 minutes I think is the strongest of just
as far
like
as the
character
humans,
yes,
yeah.
as far as all the people and
Yes.
and just the through line of the story. And yeah, it just feels the most confident in itself and like even in terms of tone. And it's also, yeah, it's weird that it's also the moments where you think the family is all still like pretty chill.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have Luke asking the dad if monsters are real, and Greg's like, well, you know, son, they say that actually humans are the real monsters. So yeah, I would say monsters are real. And mom has to be like, okay, no. So what your dad is saying is that no, monsters are not real. And it's funny, and I read that as, oh, these parents have kind of a funny
back and forth
adversary,
kinda.
like in a way that you do if you're married to like a friend or something, you know.
But then later they like hate each other.
Yeah, he's an asshole. He's the worst piece of shit, and he's written to be the biggest, not even like piece of shit husband in the way you're maybe thinking if you haven't seen this, where like he's abusive or
no, he's lazy.
He just is like a fungus that exists and you have to feed it.
Well, yeah, because the next day when he's trying to get them to fill in the hole, and they all vote for dad to fill it in. Funny. And then he starts, and then he's like, oh, I hurt my hand. I thought that's the parents being like, no, kids, you got to fill in the hole that you dug. Your dad isn't going to do it. But no, then the rest of the movie he has like a cast on and is using it as an excuse to not do anything. And the wife is getting upset about it.
Yeah, and it's this weird B plot of this wife dealing with her husband who doesn't help whatsoever with the kids or with the housekeeping or anything. And that doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it boils to like an uncomfortable point where they seem like they're about to get divorced or something, or like she's gonna leave,
yeah.
But then
we just stop.
Then that's it. The end of the movie. I don't know why they reconcile other than it's the end of the movie and they're supposed to.
I have rewrites for the end of the movie. I have a very good idea for how you like this would be my big note for if I was a suit and I was given that this is my do you want me to just like, or do you want me to wait till
let's wait till we get to the end?
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm curious though.
Yeah, but so it sucks too, because at first I really liked Mimi at first.
Well, she has this line delivery when the mom calls the game the wrong name. She's like, like, did you play silly ball or something?
Silly ball, yeah.
And
she goes, it's a crazy ball or something. And I just got such like a, oh, yes, like that was so me as a kid.
Well, it's funny because that line delivery is buck wild.
It's so funny though.
It's funny. And I laughed really hard when it happened. But also at that moment, I was like, uh-oh, is she just going to be a crazy character? And
That's
lo
the
and behold,
thing.
she is.
That's the hard part of directing kids. And again, I'm not going to blame any of this on the kids. I think the way culturally we talk about kid actors is really fucked up. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, like reviewers and just like people are so...
Poor Jake Lloyd.
Yes, like people are so cruel to child actors, and in every other respect, we tend to understand that kids are kids and they're barely responsible for themselves, and you have to kind of, you know, assign most things about them to like the adults that are in their lives influencing them, and or just like, you know, kids they can't really make decisions on their, they're just, you know, but when there's actor kids and they're famous, all of a sudden it's like fair game to just lay everything terrible about something they're in on them. And that's like a fucked up thing to do to a kid who is a kid. And in all other respects, we understand that they don't have that kind of agency.
Yeah.
Do you know? Yeah, I think of Jake Lloyd. I think of like Mara Wilson, who is Matilda, talks about the way that people talked about her as a kid and how it like really fucked her up. And
well, that I don't even think was she's a bad performer. That was like more of a
like sexualized.
Yeah.
But even still, like, I mean, she would talk. She's talked before about just like, oh, the annoying kid. You're like the precocious kid, and oh god, we hate this.
And Mimi
kid.
is an annoying, precocious kid, but
Yes.
I'm not gonna blame the actor.
And what I think it is I think there's moments where this works very well, and I think it's hard when you're directing. This is the hard thing about filmmaking. You are shooting all out of order. Compared to we literally were just talking about this when I was a kid. I thought that films were filmed all completely in order,
like every shot.
Like you shoot like someone says a line and then you set it up the other way and they say the next line. That would take years to film. And if I was like Elon Musk rich, I would finance a film to be shot like that just to see what happens. Like Boyhood, but like let's shoot it all like extremely chronologically.
Every shot
just to see what happens.
Edited in camera.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no post production. It has to be done in camera. Fuck, it would be so bad. But oh god, what was I even saying? So you're filming all of and so when you're even directing adults, like when you watch a movie and sometimes you're like, I don't quite understand like who this person is or where, and it's hard, and that's something that is like a good actor is able to look at their script, understand what they're filming each day, and mentally, because they've kind of gone through their script and they know their character, they know like where that character's head is at in that particular scene.
And that's hard.
It's so hard, especially if it's like you haven't shot other stuff yet, so you don't have that to kind of mentally.
Yeah, if you're shooting
compare.
The ending first, the big emotional ending where your character is affected by everything that has happened in the movie, but that you haven't filmed yet,
experienced yet, and
that's
you haven't
real hard.
like, and because part of acting is like letting yourself live in that moment, and if you haven't lived that moment, it's hard. But also that's where that's a big part of the director's role, is keeping track of where everything is in the movie. And also if you have a character like Mimi, and part of what you think is very funny or appealing about them is they're extremely like they're up here, they're playing up here, like understanding how much of that is enough and where to use it in the script. And that's hard to do again when you're kind of shooting not all at once, and then you edit it together and it might be like, fuck, like this is how we shot it, and this is, again, I don't know if that's the deal. That might be what they went for, and I just personally don't like it. But yeah, anyway, long way to say that's not the kid's fault. Yeah,
and just that I think the biggest downer on this movie for me is maybe just the reliance on Mimi as a crazy person.
Yeah, it's Mimi as a kid that you can direct to say all kinds of like just weird kid stuff. And I also think I'm spoiled because we've been rewatching Malcolm in the Middle. Oh. And because Malcolm in the Middle is one of my favorite sitcoms.
It's fantastic.
I am so happy it still holds up. I watched it religiously while it was on, and that's one where I was like, man, I hope this is still good, because it's kid actors. Like Dewey in that is younger than these. Well, no, he would be like their age, maybe a little. I don't know.
He also
looks younger than he is, I think.
Okay.
Dewey, but they're like young.
They're comparable.
They're like basically preteens that first season.
Yes.
And that show just, you know, they work so well with those kids, and those kids, even when it's scenes or whole episodes where it's just the kids, are so fucking funny, even to an adult. And not because they're precocious, but because their delivery and therefore whoever's directing them or writing for them is like, they have such like a, yeah, that show's good. I do love though when they find that glowy coffin. Mimi is like, Luke was like, oh my God, is it grandma? Is she coming back for us? And then Mimi's like, I told you, grandma's in hell forever.
Yeah,
and I
laughed hard
again,
at that.
I still am like, I think because at this point I'm still like relating to her as like a former young girl. Like, and that's something that I think is sorely missing in media, and why I like Pen 15 so much is because it's truly one of the only shows, and I mean that's adults playing younger, but still it's depictions of these like early teen girls where they are weird, they are absolute assholes to each other sometimes, and they, you know, they're, I don't know, like they're just as like weird little, because if you imagine Mimi as like a boy, the initial like maybe weirdness of her, I think, feels less weird if you kind of mentally imagine that character as a boy. Then that behavior starts to feel like, oh yeah, she's like a little boy. She's, you know, getting all dirty in the backyard and bossing around her kid brother. And I just think like, oh cool, we're showing a younger girl who, and she's not even like a tomboy. She's not like ew, girl stuff is gross. She's just a fucking weirdo, which is the case for most young girls. Yeah, so I do like that about her.
Yeah, it was just a little too much sometimes.
Well, it's also before we realize that, oh wait, Mimi just is an asshole all the time.
Yeah.
She's not a nice character.
No, and that gets tiresome after a while because they go out to the backyard and see that whatever they dug up has like escaped. It's PG, it's Psycho Goreman, and he finds like a gang of vagrants or something.
Yeah,
who have,
he
like,
walks
robbed
to this,
people.
and this is before he gets his name. He's just, I forget what his name is.
He's the Archduke of Nightmares, which is fucking dope.
That's like a name that the fucking like BTK tried to give himself.
Oh, God.
The Grot Phantom. Fucking asshole. Yeah, he goes to, it's like a it used to be a shoe factory.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he like finds these guys who I think they're trying to find stuff to like pawn or either like, you know, turn in for scrap or whatever. And he just, I mean, this is when we get the first series of amazing gore.
Yeah, he double decaps two dudes with his hands, just rips their heads straight
at this
up.
point, I'm like, yes, perfect. Yeah, the like ripping these two guys' heads off with each of his hands, amazing.
And
yes.
He looks so cool. He has like
he's very
red
cool
veins that like glow.
As soon as he started talking, this is my note.
And his voice is fucking
I
great.
have rips these two guys' heads off with his hands, indent. Sorry, James, this is my new husband. I love him so much. He just showed up and started talking. I was like, oh my God, I love him. And we're rewatching Lord of the Rings extended editions. And I told our social pod that I think that Uruk-hai are hot. I think they're sexy.
No. You have to specify it's that first one, the captain.
Yeah.
Whose name I forget. We looked it up, but I forgot his name. But
yeah, it starts with an L.
Lurtz.
Lurtz.
I think
Yeah,
it's Lurtz.
he's
yeah.
hot.
But then we watched Towers and there were more. And it was like, Chelsea, you gotta qualify your statement. Okay,
but and you know, this guy's in the same kind of like family, and also same with my Skyrim husband. My husband that I married, my NPC is Gorvash the Iron Hand. I think I have a type along with green guys.
Great.
Hey, real quick before we do our ads this week, I wanted to give a shout out to friend of Dead Meat Andrew Bowser, who is currently working on a feature film. If you really like Psycho Goreman for its practical effects and kind of throwback style, you're going to really like what Andrew is currently working on. Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls, starring Onyx the Fortuitous, or you may know him as the weird Satanist guy from that video where the Detroit Satanic Temple opened, and there was that news story that honestly for years I thought that he was just genuinely part of it and he was a real person, but no, he is real, I guess, but he just lives in our hearts.
I'm just excited to see my Lord and Savior Baphomet represented in such glorious Italian stone.
But this is gonna be Onyx's motion picture debut. I'm very excited. I love Andrew's videos. My personal favorite is one that he edited himself into a story that was done at the Arby's where I grew up. Like, it was my hometown Arby's, and I'm obsessed with that video.
Slam! Da-da-da! We them Arby's boys!
Anyway, if you want a chance to fund something really special, if you're kind of sick of maybe the, everything's got kind of a gloss on it, a sheen, maybe not as much time or care spent on the practical side of things, this is your chance to help make the kind of movie you want to see more of. You can check out the Kickstarter at onyxthemovie.com. I also have the link in the description. It's gonna be such a fun movie, and honestly, the sooner we get it funded, the sooner I personally get to see it. So get on it. Our first sponsor this week is HelloFresh. James and I love HelloFresh. It's a meal kit delivery service. Everything is perfectly pre-proportioned and measured out so you don't have any food waste. That's a big deal. I always feel so terrible when I have food waste. And we don't have to worry about planning grocery lists, really. It's a lot easier to go shopping, especially right now when we don't even go to the grocery store. And then each meal takes 30 minutes or so. They even have 10 to 20-minute meals. And there's about 25 recipes to choose from each week, so there's something that you're going to like. So if you want to try HelloFresh, go to hellofresh.com/deadmeat12 and use the code deadmeat12 for 12 free meals. Just straight up 12 free meals, including free shipping. And once again, that is hellofresh.com/deadmeat12 and use the code deadmeat12 for 12 free meals. HelloFresh. Our other sponsor this week is Raycon wireless earbuds. I love my Raycon earbuds. I've been using them ever since James got a pair of them a few years ago. I love them, especially when I'm doing stuff during the day like cleaning, or even when I'm vacuuming, I can still hear the thing I'm listening to. It's fantastic. They're even water and sweat resistant, so if you wear them to the gym, you don't have to worry about getting sweat on them and accidentally destroying them. So if you want to try out Raycon wireless earbuds, Raycon's offering 15% off all their products for our listeners, and here's what you gotta do. You go to buyraycon.com/deadmeatpod, and that's it. You'll get 15% off your entire order. So go to buyraycon.com/deadmeatpod. One more time, buyraycon.com/deadmeatpod.
Yeah, he decapitates these two dudes. He's kicking ass. He freezes another dude in like an endless state of torment.
Yeah, because the guy begs like, "Please don't kill me." And he goes, "Fine, then you'll live forever," which is like fucking cool. It's like,
which is great. And then when the kids find him, he's telling them, "Oh, I have this man set up in an endless state of," and then they knock him over and he shatters.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
That's so funny. Again, there are moments that I think are very funny in this, and now that I'm thinking about it, there are moments that feel like they were scripted. That was part of the script. It was, I think maybe some of the moments where the humor were like, I wonder if that was just kind of, we're goofing on set.
It might be, because I think a lot of it is with the dad. Like when the dad, he like microwaves some chicken for dinner just to show how fail of a parent he is. And then it like messes up the microwave. And he was like, I was trying to cook a good meal for my family. You're welcome. And there's like a long close up and he's like got a tear coming out of his eye. He's like, you're welcome. And I was like, much. Yeah, that didn't work for me.
Yeah.
You almost started singing the song from this movie there. Yeah. I
hate that song.
I fucking hated that song, man.
I absolutely hate the song in this, especially when it's a movie that everyone's telling me is the most metal shit ever, and then we have a song about heckin' puppos or whatever they're singing about.
Yeah, using heckin' as an adjective.
Heckin'
Number
needs
one,
to die
I don't
forever.
want it.
The fact that they made PG, who is like one of the coolest original characters I've seen recently, say the word heckin' and friggin' makes me want to die.
Yeah, that's
Fucking-
the heckin' and frig stuff.
Just let the kids say fuck. Just let the kids say fuck.
They're already
kids
wild.
saying fuck is so funny. I'm gonna let our kids swear. I'm sorry. Kids swearing is objectively funny and cool, and I just like frig and heckin'. Oh god.
Yeah, it's
Not good.
It's not
It feels
funny
a
to me
few
because
years too late to be doing heckin'.
yeah, and even then I didn't love it.
I mean, yeah, it was funny for like a day, and then it wasn't.
Yeah, basically when they find PG, he learns that the gem that they have, the gem of
Geminia 1?
No, Paraxidike.
Oh,
Paraxidike.
Yeah.
It looks like it would be Paraxidice, but no, it's Paraxidike.
Yeah.
And because Mimi has this gem, she can control PG. That is the movie. Little girl who is kind of a psycho can now control an interdimensional murder machine.
Is like, if you just tell me that concept, if you're like, little girl finds digs up a gem in her backyard that controls the ultimate, like the most evil being in the universe, and he has to like submit to her will, yes, I love that. That's so funny.
It's a good plot.
It's such a good it's weird. I got shades of Monster Squad watching this movie.
Oh, yeah.
The kind of like where there's the little girl with Frankenstein, although Frankenstein is a sweet baby and isn't mean like PG, but just the like, oh, we're basically adopting these monsters we found and they're our pets now kind of thing.
Yeah, it's hard for me to really pinpoint when the movie loses me, because up to this point, I'm having a good time.
Yeah, I'm still like, we have going back like a scene to when they find PG in this warehouse, because they kind of follow where he walked from the hole in their backyard, and that's when they workshop names for him while they're making him run in place and do jumping jacks, which is kind of fun. I did, like the we're workshopping the names. I'm like, it's not, it's not. I guess it's funny.
Yeah, because we just watched Deathgasm for the commentary track, and there's another scene there.
And I also similarly was like, I don't know.
Yeah, just coming up with like names is definitely it's just a writer showing off. Like, it feels like a writer.
The only time that ever makes me laugh if it's like written by someone, if it's on like Tim and Eric, where they make up the funniest names I've ever heard in my life. I don't know how they do it. They have an innate talent for just absolutely weirdo names.
Well, also the college or the football.
Yes, yeah, the
Key
Key and Peele sketch.
Yeah, those are super funny too.
Yeah, those are very good. But yeah, so they come up with Psycho Goreman, and that's when I realized in my head I'd been reading it as Psycho Goreman.
Yeah, me too.
Like, that's actually his
when
last
they
name.
emphasized the man, I was like, oh, that's how it's
Psycho
said.
Goreman.
Yeah,
not, like, it'd be like it. Yeah, it makes sense because it's like Batman, Spider-Man, like Goreman.
But I've been saying Psycho Goreman
and
for
Spider-Man
sure.
and Goreman. Yeah. Same.
This is when we are introduced to the Council of Intergalactic Beings who realize that PG has escaped and want to put him down. And this is more awesome gleep gloops. There's a brain in a jar.
I love I wish we got more of him.
Brain in the jar is awesome.
The brain in the jar, I remember we were watching it when they showed him. I just went, oh, he's my favorite.
Yeah. And they settle on the Templar Pandora, who, like we said, is a cyborg angel, to go down and get him because she's of the race that originally enslaved PG's race.
Yeah.
And in order to learn what humans are, they just summon a random one to them.
I like that.
This is so funny. It's this woman who's like transported to them in a cube.
Bring me one of these humans.
And the human is so
Don't
scared.
be frightened.
Yeah, she's like, don't be frightened. And then the cube just crushes her to
Turned her
death.
into a meat cube.
Yeah.
I did notice in this scene, this like intergalactic council. I don't think that's even what it's called. I'm just calling it that. There's, I think, a matte painting kind of. I think it was a matte painting of like the big statue that's kind of standing over them. It's like when you kind of look up and the hall is very tall, and there's and I love so much that was a matte painting. It was just such a nice touch. It looked really.
I mean, the production design of this movie.
There's a little claymation floaty alien that comes in. I think he's the one that brings the human.
Oh,
But
yeah,
he's
yeah,
like
yeah.
a little kind of Harryhausen looking little claymation.
Yeah, there's great effects. Like, I love the look
the
of
effects
the movie,
are
the design.
truly amazing, and
Mm-hmm.
the costumes, even when like there's plenty of moments where you can tell the costumes are made of like a something that like you could make I mean, you'd have to be a very advanced level cosplayer to do this, but I could tell it's like, oh, it's made out of some kind of foam, and so that it's like it's a cosplay armor type, but I love that. I love that it's not perfect, and I love that it's a little bit, you can see the seams, and that makes it look so good.
Yeah, it's very Power Rangers-y. I love it.
Yeah.
Mimi and Luke have a friend named Alistair.
Which
Alistair.
is a cool name for a kid.
Yeah. And also, by the way, is this a period piece? Because when they first talk to Alistair, they're talking about this Nintendo 64 game, if he's beaten it or not.
Yeah.
So is this like in the 90s?
I think so, because I don't think we see
Any smartphones
any cell
or
phones. And the dad says he was in the Iraq War.
He does. And I don't know if that was true or just him goofing around, but that's the reference
I was
point.
trying to place this, though.
But was it Iraq? Could it have been the Gulf War?
Oh, fuck, maybe.
That he might be talking about the Gulf War from the early 90s. Yeah.
I just, you say the Iraq War.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it wasn't talking about part 2.
Yeah. This is when, why do I have Johnny G written down? Oh, it's because it's the hunky boy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's when, they leave, this is a joke I laughed very hard at, where they leave PG alone in this warehouse where he just has to sit there and just watch cartoons pretty much on TV. And they're like, here's a pile of magazines, and this one has hunky boys in it. Here, bye. And then PG goes, I don't like hunky boys. Or do I? When he looks at Johnny G, which is,
I do not care for
that
hunky
picture
boys.
of that guy is so funny. He's just got like these kind of, not even like tight denim jeans, and they just kind of normal looking jeans.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Or do
I will say that I have seen that line quoted on Reddit, unfortunately.
I did have hunky boys.
Yeah,
spoiled,
so I
but
knew that
still
when
laughed.
it happened, it had been lessened from familiarity, but
And that's,
still hilarious.
I have a note too that after I'd already fallen in love with him, I was like, oh no, is he gay? Like, God damn it.
They don't really bring back the hunky boys.
No, they should have had a hunky. Well, he does like where I forget who. I think it's when the final fight in Pandora. I think like they get fucked with the magazines, and he goes, "Not my hunky boys."
Oh, that's right. Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
All right.
So they bring it back, but
That's
I almost wish there was a final. Just bring back the hunky boys.
Yeah. He gives them backstory, and this is flashbacks, which normally it's like, oh no, not exposition and flashbacks.
No, but this is the best.
But they're fucking great, because he talks about how he and his people were enslaved by the Templars, and then he discovered the gem of Paraxodite.
And I'm like Team PG, rise up.
Yeah, because they're like
crush the
being
masters.
forced to build like pyramids. It's very,
it feels very epic scale. Like, he basically just becomes Sauron, and he punches Gleepglop's heads off. It's great.
There's a montage of murder of him going planet to planet. One of them, he's piloting a giant mecha that's just like stepping on people. It's so good.
The various little scenes of him just murdering all these other planets are really funny. They start to flash back to one later when they're sitting in the diner. He's like, back when
the Bridge of Souls.
Blah. And it's the funniest
And they cut
shot.
away, and I was like, no. Yeah, he's like driving.
That's why it's so funny. But it's like him driving this little car, and then So I love like PG.
He's
is great.
I fucking love PG.
All the PG, like all the PG stuff, and all the other like monsters, and all like that's all great. I just think it sucks so much how maybe it's honestly just because the third act was so, for me, really weak that in retrospect it was like...
Yeah, because like I said, we're talking about all this stuff, and it's like,
fun,
it's hilarious.
Yeah. It just kind of loses itself later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like this part where Mimi has like a crush on Alistair. Alistair, I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Just Alistair. Like Alistair Black.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was spelled different, but...
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's okay. I'll call him Alistair. Like the criminally underused Alistair Black. And she has a crush on him, but he's not really interested, and she asks PG to make him more affectionate or whatever, and he just turns him into a giant brain with eyeballs.
Yeah,
And then
I think
this kid is just a brain the rest of the thing.
Maybe I'm mistaken, but it's right after he's talking about he learned some art of whatever from the brainworms of, I think, Janice.
Oh.
And he was like, those were good. They were good people. And I think he turns him into one of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's just a brain for the rest of the movie, and that's pretty funny.
I do he's this
Just shitty
what
looking
did it
brain.
remind me of?
I don't know.
I don't know why it looked, and I was like, there's something that
Especially when he's walking away after they're like playing on the
bye,
playground.
Alistair.
Yeah, it's so funny. He's just kind of sliding against the ground. And then at the end of the movie, you're like, did they forget about Alistair? Nope, post-credit scene, baby. Or like mid-credit scene.
Yeah. I don't know why. He's not like Meatwad. He's just, there's something visually that he looks, whatever.
My next section of notes is just the song. Is there anything in between there?
I came up with an idea for a rom-com where it's PG, where he stays with me because I have the gem, but I realize
you Chelsea?
Yeah,
Okay.
This is the movie. This is the sequel I'm writing.
Okay.
And I realized he loves me because I have the gem, but then I realized later he had lost it at some point and he was choosing to stay with me.
Great. Okay, so they get to a montage where they're like singing a song.
Oh, I hate it.
I hate the song. So
I did laugh. There is like a part in this montage
Yeah,
where PG just literally explodes a girl in a stroller, just annihilates this little kid.
Oh, is that what happens? Because I have down that
No,
someone is like, nice Halloween costume, and he just blows them up.
Yeah.
Was it wasn't a kid in a stroller.
No,
It was
but
like a shit-heel
there's
kid.
like a bunch of shots. Maybe I'm
Oh.
misremembering, but I'm pretty sure he just totally decimates a kid in a stroller.
I remember something with a stroller, yeah.
Yeah.
But the song, as sung by Mimi with PG on drums, is I'm the heckin' best. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which it sounds too much like Billy Idol's Rebel Yell to me.
Yeah.
But,
Uh-huh.
you know, it
Yeah,
started, I was like, is this a Rebel Yell take?
I'm a rebel. I'm the heckin' best.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And, you know, I don't love the song. I don't love the use of frig, where it's like, frig off. Frig you.
Because she's talking to him right before this and is telling him all about the F word and tells him about frig.
Yeah, and so it's frig. So you can use frig to frig you. I hate it.
Yeah. Not the best. If you're going to have PG in a band,
It's got to be more metal is the thing. It's the lot of the movie has metal aesthetics.
yes, but it's not.
But it's not metal. And then we watch Deathgasm, which is metal.
It's a metal movie.
It has its own issues.
Again, it's not quite what I want.
Sure,
but it is clearly
metal.
about metal.
It was made by people who love metal.
I want, because it's funny, in that movie, one of my biggest issues was the villain and the whole lore of that. I just didn't quite get or care, and the villain reveal at the and seeing it was just like, eh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you could combine
if
those
you could
two
somehow
movies,
combine, I think that would be a step in the right direction for something
just
I would
take
actually
the sheer
enjoy.
metalness of Deathgasm,
Yeah.
like the shredding of it, and maybe the characters, or at least the main character.
Yeah,
he's
or
fine.
just like that's
Brody.
another thing. I think the kids in this in PG could have been older kids.
Oh.
So that maybe they could have like a band or something. Or, they're getting to that where like she's mean because, you're 14 and you're going through, you have PMS for the first time in your life and that sucks and it makes you a fucking bitch. And that, that's part of it. And,
Yeah, they're very young.
Yeah.
And so, kid actors is one thing, and then having your kid actors sing is a whole nother level, and they subject us to it for a long montage here, and then they bring it back in the ending as like an emotional thing without even.
I hate
it's the
where
worst.
it's like touching.
Yeah, it's like I'm a friggin'
Hate it. No, I hate it so much.
I'm sorry.
Do not like.
Now I know that if I ever want to like just kind of lightly annoy you, I can just sing about the heckin' best.
Ugh. I do like in this montage we have PG trying on different outfits.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
And he ends up in like the silliest outfit.
The cowboy outfit?
The Sam Neill from Jurassic Park outfit.
Dude, there's a shot of him. It's like before the cops show up where I'm watching, I'm like, there's the kill count thumbnail. It's him with like the shades and the hat. Yeah.
It's
very well
lit. It's a good fit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. For sure. Right around here, I don't know what's with the parents because I think this is...
That's when they're like fighting more
and
she calls him lazy.
That's when, he like makes dinner by microwaving raw chicken, which is disgusting, and doesn't clean it up. She has to, so basically it's just he's like, oh, I messed up my arm, so you gotta take care of me. And he's basically just useless. He's a piece of furniture that breathes. And she, and they get in a fight about it, and which you want, if you're writing him like this, you're writing it so she can blow up on him. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I don't know why you're making him this infuriatingly useless.
Yeah, and unlikable.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah,
unless they think they might think that he is a lovable scamp.
Really?
Maybe.
I found him so upsetting.
Yeah.
And if that's what was meant with that, is like, oh, he's a good dad, he's just lazy, is like, no, he sucks. He's a horrible husband.
Yeah. She
basically tells him she's gonna leave him, and it's such a big blow up that I'm thinking this must come back late. Like, this must be a thing. Or else why are we spending so much time with this weird domestic drama? And it's not a thing at the end.
A cop shows up, and I kind of like that the cop is gets just their head fucked up, and then they're like walking around all messed up and have to follow along with them.
Yeah. Oh wait, don't forget that right before this scene is when Luke in the middle of the night is dreaming.
Oh yes.
And PG can get into his dream, and he's like, this is the dream space, I can communicate with you through here. And this is the Phantasm reference, which I clocked immediately.
Yeah,
as soon as they cut to him in the bed, because it's a thing where like it cuts to the dream and it's really fast zoom out, and the bed's in the middle of a
and
they're
cemetery.
in a graveyard. Yeah.
And you were like, Phantasm, and then PG walks in and is like, boy.
Yeah. Which I liked. I appreciated.
I like the end of that too, where it's like, well, now what? I
wait
just have
for
to
the dream to be
end.
over, and these
they just
corpses are on the ground, just like, oh, yeah. I like that. That was very funny. And I normally I'm like, I could give or take a reference to like, referential humor.
Well, that's such a
but exactly
deep
that's
take.
Such a deep pull
that
is very funny. And I appreciate that. Was a thing where it made me do I know that thing that just gives you a shot of serotonin and makes you feel good, and is why people put references and stuff. Yeah, I was the Leo meme for sure. So then, that's when they're at like a parking lot or whatever, and the cops show up. PG says fuck the police, and he melts this cop, and the melting effect is very cool. This dude's just like wax. He's just melting, and
he's just walking around all fucked up with them. Mm-hmm. They go into the woods where PG gets a visit from his former army, but now they want to keep him imprisoned by this little girl so that they can... I love how... I forgot what their name is. They're like the army of something, but he had used them to help conquer planets. And so when they gave him a TV...
This is very funny.
When they gave him a TV in the warehouse, he was able to contact them and send for help and have them come here to help him. But when they get there, they're like, no, we don't want to help free you. We're having a good time with our planet. We all take turns ruling it. I'm ruling it now. You can tell I'm wearing the crown.
I love the implication that they've achieved maybe just like universal peace with this weird rotational government where they all swap every week who gets to wear the crown. It's so funny.
Like, this scene is fantastic because it's very Venture Brothers, because not only do you have this like hilarious undercutting of PG's sinisterness and these people being like, no, we're doing great with this funny system of government. Each of the characters are so uniquely designed. One guy's just like a bucket of body parts.
Yeah.
And then there's like...
He just shoots blood out of these tubes.
Yeah. And there's a golden robot pirate.
He's
Cassius
like an
3000.
automaton kind of.
Even with like a
He
parrot.
he looks like Robin Williams in Bicentennial Man, but he's like gold.
Yeah.
And has a parrot. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, the like weird
like witch
doll
lady
that with the face with the really wide eyes.
Oh yeah, it's creepy.
It looks a little bit like Momo, that scary sculpture that
was hot for like a month.
I think about that sometimes and how wild that must have been and actually how fucking horrible it must have been for that artist. I just wanted to make a weird bird lady. And now parents are thinking I'm trying to like get their kids to kill themselves.
Yeah, there's like a whole satanic
fuck?
Panic thing.
There was, yeah. I like that the gold guy stands there like an NPC in a game.
Oh yeah, he's kind of bobbing.
Doing
It's great.
I like this whole scene.
It's great, and he ends up killing them all.
Yeah.
And eating the last one because it's a warrior's death.
It's a warrior's death, yeah. Well, before Mimi lets him get beat up first a little bit, because I forget. I don't know. He's
She's
a
like
dick.
upset at him. I don't know. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is the whole conflict between Luke and Mimi. And
yeah, and that's why PG appeared in his dream was because he was like, your sister is awful, right?
Fair point.
And yeah, and you know that she would betray you in a heartbeat. Like if it was her or you, she would throw you under the bus any day. And so that's a thing now. And like fair point. We have seen her be nice 0 times pretty much. Except maybe a little bit at the beginning where they feel a bit more like siblings who actually care. They're mean to each other, but they care about each other. But this is like, because
she ends up like at one point she tells PG to kill him and he like lifts him up.
Yeah, and
then
she
she's
does
like,
the Cersei like, oh wait, I changed my mind.
yeah.
Where that she does to
Power is
Littlefinger.
power.
Yeah, exactly. She really does. She pulls a power is power type thing. But yeah, there's great gore. PG
Gore.
gets partially decapitated and his head gets put back on and it's just cool. You got like the skin and like stuff holding it on still. It's like nearly headless neck kind of shit, except like practical. And this scene, you could so easily, I keep talking about Lord of the Rings. It's because we're watching it right now, and also because that movie, there's also lots of weird creatures and stuff running around that are all practical, and you could so easily cut this scene to go back and forth between the PG fighting the paladins in the woods and fucking the fellowship in the forest. It looks the same. It's like the same landscape and like time of day. It would be so good. Like you could have Aragorn just fucking fighting Psycho Goreman. That's so cool.
Pandora, the Templar, has visited Earth, assumed a human form, and has tracked down where PG is. So she visits their home where the parents are.
Yeah.
And she kind of like tells them what's going on.
And meanwhile, after PG got the shit kicked out of him, he's dying because of that, and also because he doesn't have the gem, so he's not fully, it's not even his final form type. Like,
oh no, I think they give him the gem to absorb, or no, she's still kind of withholding it.
Yeah, he's like the only way. Yeah, because the whole thing is, it's like the only way I'll live because I'm dying is if you give me the gem back, and that's the thing. It's like you'll just kill everyone, like you said you would kill everyone.
Yeah.
But I do love that scene. I don't even know if it's on purpose or not, but TG's just like, I'm dying, kids. And he's laying next to the river, and all I could think of was E.T. when they find that fucking awful, like, waterlogged E.T. puppet in the river, and they bring him home in a wagon. That's just all I could think of is, like, I'm dying in this river. It felt maybe like a reference. I'm not sure. But they get the dad to come pick them up, and they just need to surrender PG to Pandora, and the mom, like Susan, is like, okay, yeah, come on, Greg, get out of the truck. And then PG's like, well, actually, she's even more evil than I am, and if you give me to her, then you'll just end up doing endless servitude. And that's when the dad makes him crack, like, oh, endless servitude. It's almost like being married to you, Susan, which again, I'm thinking, okay, this is going somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't. The dad's
no.
just an asshole for no reason.
Yeah, so they drive off to go back to the shoe factory, and the mom, Susan, gets like deputized by Pandora and turned into a robot angel type thing. Mm-hmm. And Luke's with her since he's had enough of Mimi's shit. Mm-hmm. So now it's like the two sides are Pandora with Susan as a angel robot and Luke, and then the dad is siding with Mimi and PG.
Right. And the dad's just siding on that side because his wife is a bitch, I guess. I forgot this scene even existed, but I hate it. It just was like, it was the moment for me where the humor in this movie just felt like it just was like, it tanked. Like I could just, even though it was like just the two of us watching, it just felt like such like lead balloon type, where they're in the shoe factory and Mimi's like, Dad, I don't know what to do. Do I give him the gem and then he maybe kills everyone we know? Or do I do we turn him in and then we're just slaves forever? And the dad's like, well, I don't know. And it's not this part, but the dad tells some like stupid story about like one time there was a creepy guy who asked me to get into his van, and I did, and he showed me a bunch of baseball cards, and I learned to trust creepy weirdos, and you should trust your creepy friend. And she's like, okay. But then she goes into this other room where there's a cross on the wall.
Yes, that is literally my last note, is crucifix scene.
I hate this.
It's awful.
It's so...
it's so unnecessary.
It's very unnecessary and not funny. It just with a thud. But it just, she's talking to her, she's like praying and is like, what should I do? I have such a big decision to make. And then it's like, should I wear these sunglasses or these sunglasses? And it's just precocious kid. Why am I even talking to you? Like, I'm going to wear these. I don't even know why. And it just was like, okay.
There's no need for this scene.
It just, I don't know. It just makes her less likable. And there's no I don't. It just is like a joke for no reason. It's
just such an obviously written joke.
Yeah.
That would only be, like, a human being would only do that if they were in a movie and trying to be funny. You know, like acting sincerely towards a crucifix and being like, I have such a hard decision to make. Like, how will I ever decide between these sunglasses and these sunglasses? Like, you wouldn't do that on your own. And it's just such an old joke.
It feels like a very old school joke that
I hated it. It was awful.
Yeah.
And once they get to the shoe factory, the rest of this is bleh. I can't. I don't like it.
This is like, I already was like really wavering on I think the second act, realizing, oh, Mimi is actually just kind of awful and there's nothing to like about her, and like slowly realizing that the stuff with the parents is not going to go anywhere after being baffled by it for the last hour. Yeah, I think that's when I started to really feel pretty down on this as a whole, which really sucks because like in reviewing it, there's so much cool shit that it's a bummer that that's kind of what happens.
Yeah, that was the takeaway for you.
Is it just doesn't, it just all fails to come together, that it really affects how I felt about the entire thing. Yeah. And that sucks. Especially because you're the third act of this movie and you've seen so much crazy shit leading up to this. The third, like the end of this movie should be the craziest shit by far that you've seen the entire movie visually. Like,
and instead they play Crazy Ball. And they re-sing that song. And like he does when he kills Pandora, he does, eat her up as a warrior's death.
He does make her bones into a sword, which is cool.
That part is cool.
I do like that.
Bone staff, yep. Shout out to Marta.
That level of commitment, I want that entire finale to be.
I don't like the Crazy
really
Ball.
Really brutal. Yeah.
Coming back, although I guess, that's what opened the movie, so screenwriter,
we have Susan kicking the shit out of Greg because she's a robot alien. And I'm thinking, like, is she gonna kill their dad in front of
that'd be like too far.
Like,
that'd
I'm
be
like,
weird.
so where is this going? And
Yeah, she ends up getting demoted, and when
She gets
Pandora,
turned back into a person, yeah.
Yeah, because Pandora goes to like kill Mimi in front of PG because she's like Gore, and then Susan stops her and gets like turned back into a very slimy, wet human.
Yeah, and that's when Mimi gives PG the gem back. And they can,
As long as he promises not to hurt their family.
Right. The rest of the world can go fuck themselves.
Which is what happens, and it's kind of funny. It's
but then it's this whole thing where the end. So yeah, Pandora's dead, and PG has the gem back, and he says, you know what? I learned what love is being here with you guys, and I'm going to use my newfound discovery of love to destroy everything like I came here intending to do. And then he goes through a portal and just starts zapping, you know,
and then I started blasting.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I guess, but also power of love to just do what you were going to do. It's so unsatisfying.
That was production starts next week. We need to finish the script here.
The dad and the last thing is like the wife helping the dad into the car and him being like, "Oh, honey, could you get me an ambulance? My wrist is still like really fucked up." And it's like, even, you know, it ends with him being, the last thing we see of him is him being the same piece of shit husband, and the wife just kind of be like, "Okay, honey, let's get you in the car."
Mm-hmm.
This is my ending for this.
So let's hear these notes.
Yeah, so we get to the shoe factory. The mom's still a robot angel lady, and after the big showdown, like Pandora's defeated, I would have the mom not get demoted somehow. Like the mom is just stuck as this angel robot, and the dad is just too scared of her to come back and is like, "Oh, I can't boss around my wife anymore," type thing. And then, you know, they split. It's cool. She because that would resolve that shit, because I'm expecting that to happen. And then PG finds he gives them the speech about I finally know what love is, and I've found the power of love. And I'm going to use this newfound power of love to destroy you. And he looks at the two kids and they're like, "You promise?" He's like, "I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to destroy you. I'm going to marry your mom." Because that's like the ultimate thing you can do as a friend to destroy someone, is like, "I'm going to do your mom," right? So he marries their mom because she's an angel robot now, and they're together. And also now this is when they're the Goreman family. We can change Goreman to Goreman. So I'm
there
Mr.
you go. Okay.
Mr. Goreman, and he's wearing people clothes. And yeah, he just spends the rest of their days destroying these children like he promised he would do, with the power of love, by being the most embarrassing dad of all time. Because that is the ultimate way to also just destroy your kids, is being like a sincere but extremely embarrassing dad, where he shows up maybe in the middle of one of their school dances to check on them, or like they have friends over and he's awkwardly hovering in the doorway trying to talk while they're like, "We're trying to hang out with our friends."
Yeah.
Just really mundane stuff.
That's
but
great.
I think that it could be him realizing that is even that's a more potent form of destruction, is through love and just sheer humiliation, than anything I'd ever done before then. Is just this small scale, like, yes, being an embarrassing dad. Yeah.
I like it.
That's my ending for this movie. And that sets up such a good sequel. You've got your family.
Him like wanting to get back into it after getting restless for a while, you know, being a dad. That'd be great.
Yeah. And that's, the mom would have stuff to do too. Because it's like, oh, she's had to be a housewife this whole time and take care of this guy, but now she can go on, maybe she power trips too hard or something, and she's the villain in the second one, and it resolves itself all good, because I wouldn't want anything to happen to Susan, but I don't know. That would be my note.
Damn, I like that. Right? Wish we'd gotten it.
I like that. I thought of that the other night, just like the destructive power of love to just...
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense the way it happens.
Yeah, and especially with him discovering what love is and realizing... I just think that's that's like the heart that's missing also, is that kind of really satisfying wrap up. Because I think when you have something like this with the kids, you want them to bond. Like, you want there to be something, you want there to be something.
What, between PG and the kids?
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of
There
it,
is,
but it'd be
but-
nice to have that part of the conclusion too.
Yeah.
Instead of him just going
have
off to
him
murder.
change and, and have it be.
Yeah, a little bit more character growth would be better. I mean, Mimi, I think it's true to her character that she's like, I'm not going to say that I'm sorry, but I'll Morse code knock it. That's a good moment.
I like that callback. I thought was nice, but then she started singing and it ruined it. But yeah, I don't know. I think it could be like, I don't know, maybe we could get a better sense of like Mimi doesn't have a ton of friends at school or something. And instead of like realizing maybe she doesn't have a ton of friends because she's very abrasive, that she just doubles down on that instead and just, pushes people away. And, I like not having friends. It's better, kind of. I mean, that's been done before, but still it's something to make you at least feel for her. And yeah, I don't know. Those are my studio notes for, I truly thought he was going to end up being their dad.
Yeah.
For real.
Well, I think that's a little bit, a little fantasy fulfillment there on your
Well, when they show the husband and wife fighting, I'm like, oh, perfect. He's gonna like stay there and be their dad.
When you said that while watching it, I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh well, it's a fine movie. It's a very good display of those effects.
Yeah, I think,
accomplishment in that, right?
I think the reason that, and I feel bad whenever something like this happens, where it's a movie that because I don't like just ragging on a movie where I can tell there was effort put into this. Clearly that's the case. And also a lot of you listening really enjoyed this movie, and I don't like episodes where I'm like, I have a lot of problems with it, and this is what the podcast is for, so I'm going to talk all about them. But there's plenty that I did like. And I think maybe the reason I'm just getting so like nitpicky and into like what I really didn't like is because the stuff in this that's good is so good that it frustrates me that this movie just didn't didn't quite stick the landing, because it's so close to something I would really, really love.
Understandable. We enjoyed it a lot more than Willy's Wonderland.
I didn't like
which
Willy's.
we can't start talking about.
Nope.
But I hope we did the movie justice. We liked it. We had our issues, but that shows that we pay attention. I'm
down for more PG.
Yeah, give us more PG and give us more Dead Meat Podcast. Considering what the next episode is, I am so fucking excited.
Oh, we're allowed to say?
Yeah, let's say it.
Okay.
Next week, we will be interviewing Bria Grant.
Yes.
I am so excited.
I'm so excited. Because we did like a kind of lightning round movie review, and in that episode, because it was just all the movies we'd watched during October, which was a ton of horror movies. It's October. And I think, 12-Hour Shift, I mentioned was probably my favorite that we'd watched that entire month.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that movie. I cannot wait to talk to her all about it.
I just re-went over it because I'm also going to cover it on the kill count that same week. I recommend you rewatch it because it's so enjoyable. I love going through. It's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
And then I'm excited. She's in a new movie coming out that we haven't watched yet, Lucky, which will be premiering on Shudder. I think maybe when you're listening to this, but very soon. And not only does she star in it, she co-wrote it, which I didn't know. So I'm very excited about it.
I love her stuff.
Yeah.
12-Hour Shift. Especially because we just finished an episode talking about a horror comedy that, and I'm very picky with horror comedies. I don't like most of them, so don't feel bad if you like this. And I just do not like most horror comedies. 12-Hour Shift is extremely funny,
so
and it just hits that exact little spot that gets me. It like genuine laughs. I think we have a very similar sense of what's funny, especially in a horror movie. And I don't know. I'm excited to talk to her. I'm just excited to potentially meet someone that I'm like, we're on this. We're like, similar brainwaves, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So very excited for that. Tune in next week for that. And in the meantime, watch 12-Hour Shift.
Please watch 12-Hour Shift.
And I'm assuming watch Lucky.
If you
I
like
haven't
Coen
watched
Brothers movies, you'll
Yeah.
love 12-Hour Shift.
That's
it
the
is
thing.
the best example of like being clearly inspired by Coen Brothers, but it does its own thing. Which is hard to do. It's easy to imitate Coen Brothers. Plenty of people try, but this is such like it in that style, but not. It's so good. I love it. Yeah.
So check that out and tune in next week. In the meantime, you can also follow Dead Meat on social media at Dead Meat James on Twitter and Instagram, which I'm trying to use a little bit more.
Instagram?
A little bit more. My mods told me I need to be more social media active, so I'm trying, Liz.
I need to be less social media active. I honestly want to delete my Twitter, which is at Carebex, CREEPECC.
Follow it while you can.
Follow it while get it while it's hot. I don't know. What a fucking like despair app. It's just like a nightmare every day. And someone tweeted today that it's like Hotel California. I'm like, yeah, it totally is. Like, I think it's also just what else can we do all day right now? Mm-hmm. Probably a lot of other stuff, but still, that's how I like. I've made so many new friends during the pandemic over Twitter, which is cool. I love the fact that I've been able to meet new people while we've been locked inside for a year. But that sucks. I look forward to meeting my new friends I met over Twitter and having it probably be just like real awkward in person at first. But yeah, anyway, follow me there before I decide to just totally nuke my account.
And email her at deadmeatpod@gmail.com telling her don't nuke your Twitter account. And until next time, I'm James.
I'm Chelsea.
And this has been the Dead Meat Podcast.